Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This week's episode, we have Barry Gross, pen turning superstar. This is the October 25th meeting of the New Jersey Woodturners. Barry's going to be demonstrating Alumilite, polyester resins, and UV resins. Please stay tuned.
What I'm going to do tonight, okay, is go through some casting techniques with using Alumilite, some polyester resin. We'll talk about that. And then we'll also do some UV. Basically, it's a UV resin, so you don't need to do anything, with a pressure pot or polyester or anything like that. So first thing I want to do is I want to start out. I want to make a worthless wood blank. So I'm going to take a piece of burl like this, okay? And what I do with these normally is I hot melt glue them in. And my hot melt glue gun wasn't working, but I think it is now. So what I'm going to do is just hit just a couple drops here, a drop here, and then just put this in the center like that and hold it down to glue it in. I want to talk about this for a second, show you the pieces themselves. What you want to do when you do something like this is when you make these, make sure that your wood is absolutely dry, if not stabilized, which is a better way to do it. And then make sure that your glue holds, okay? Otherwise, these are going to float up on you, okay? Did that on purpose. So with that, make sure when you put these in, they're about halfway up, okay? Did it smile? Okay. You want to make sure these are about halfway up, because if you have them sticking up too high, by the time you turn them off, all you're going to see is all wood. You won't get any kind of acrylic. Here's one. And I'm going to pass this around so you can see it, that I did earlier. This was a really, really shallow piece. So what I did is also I put a popsicle stick on the bottom to raise it up a little bit to kind of get it in the center. So I'm going to hand this over to you, and you can hand it out to the audience to do that. So I'm going to put some glue on this guy. Let me just scrape off the glue that was on there. Okay. And we'll try this again. Put a piece there, little piece on the bottom here, and then put this in, mash it down. Hopefully it'll hold this time. And then I'm going to do the same with this piece. And then put this in here just like that. Now I'm using these molds, okay, which are really nice because they've got a slight taper to them. These are from Maneater, and they really do a good job because they do have a slight taper. So when we're finished, turn this upside down, smack it, okay, and they should come out all right. Now I put a lot of mold release on this, so that's why maybe this thing isn't sticking for me like it used to. All right, get that in there, hold it down. I tried that before. It's kind of hard to get off, and in fact, I was in desperation mode. I was just using some Scotch tape here that I had double-faced it just to go around it. All right, now I'm going to do this one first because I'm going to use Alumilite. Comes three ways. It comes Alumilite white like this, okay? And you have 2.5 minutes to mix this up, get it into a pot, and then 10 minutes later you can take it out and you have a pen blank, okay? So this is Alumilite white. Then you have Alumilite clear. Okay, the advantage to the white is that you can add all kinds of color to it. I'm going to unplug this thing so it doesn't keep dripping on the table. You can add all kinds of color to the Alumilite white and get really nice, colorful, pen blanks like that. Okay, and this stuff turns really nice. It doesn't chip. It's not brittle. That's the advantage to Alumilite. So I'm going to pass these two around. This blank is like New York Giants colors, and also the Yankees colors, red, white, and blue. And then I did this one, okay? All of these that we do with the Alumilite white, we do with a formula. And I mean, you really have to dial it in to put the correct amount of dye in there, okay? You measure it in grams to get the color, because when you mix these two, even though they look kind of clear now, as if you don't touch it, it turns completely stark white. So the white will infiltrate the blue and the red, and it'll make it kind of pinkish, okay? So I'm going to pass these two around so you can see the colors on it. But we're going to start with the Alumilite clear. And the reason that we're going to do this one is because this is going to be in the pot for about 90 minutes and take it out. And, maybe we'll get it by the end of the night. If not, you've already seen what it looks like. Okay. So what I'm going to do is this mold holds 75 grams in each chamber. Okay. And how do you measure that? Well, it's easy. Oh, just hang on to it. It's easy enough to do. All you would do is take an empty one like this, put a little water in it up to the top in one chamber, pour it into a cup, and then measure it with a little scale like this. Now, Alumilite, unlike other ones, has to be measured in grams. Okay, it has to be measured in grams because the specific gravity of A is different than the specific gravity of B. Say that 3 times fast, specific gravity. It took me a while to do that. So one is heavier than the other. All right, so you have to make sure that they're done by grams. So I'm going to turn on my scale here. Turn on my little scale. I'm going to zero it out. Put the cup on it and zero that. And again, these both, so I would need 150 grams for both of these. Now, considering I have the wood in there, how much do you think that's going to take up? Well, I don't know, beats me too. I'm just going to guess at it, honestly. I mean, that's about all you can do with these. It looks about half the volume. So if I go maybe 80 grams, okay, or let's go a little over 90 grams because I want to play. I've got some skulls here, skull molds, okay, and the excess I'm going to pour in there, and then they'll pop out later like a skull, and I'll show you that in a minute too when that's in my keychain. All right, so with this, the B side is heavier, so I'm going to. Okay, we did cut that one. We didn't cut this one. Okay, anybody got it? Yeah, do you have a knife? Perfect. Look at this. I could have never done that again. Okay, so, all right, so here's B. So we figure we want, what, maybe we said 90 grams? So 45 of B and 45 of A. So I've got 47. Okay, close enough. Now, who's got a stopwatch? Somebody can time me on this. All right, as soon as I start to put this in, we're going to start the clock. Okay. So I'm going to get 47 grams. That doesn't look like a whole lot. Let's go a little more. So if we have extra, this doesn't make a difference. Let's do 60. 60.4. Okay, so we're going to put 60.4 of A in. Start the time now. 64. I've got 58, 59, 62, 64.2, close enough. You really want to get it as close as you can on these, and that's close enough, honestly. Now, I'm going to mix this. And when I mix it, I want to make sure that there's no striations left in this. I want it clear. I want it nice and clear. And then I'm going to pour some equal amounts in my cups over here. Now, I put the casting pigments in here already because those are the 2 colors that I want to mix up in here. I just randomly chose purple and gold. I'm not a Vikings fan. Okay, so don't anybody get upset at me. Yeah, it's Mardi Gras. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so you see this is clear. Okay, you see all the bubbles. Now, the thing with Alumilite is that you have to put it in a pressure pot. If you don't, you're going to get a ton of bubbles, and I'll show you what I'm talking about bubbles-wise in a minute. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to pour, let's see. So we got about 64. So let's take this. Put about 60 in here. That's close enough. And then I'll dump the rest in there. So I want to stir this up. I want to get it nice and mixed. And it's a nice color. And I usually put a little bit of sparkle in there too. Okay. Like a little bit of the fluorescent powder to really make it pop. What are we doing on time? About 3, how much? 2. Oh, good. Okay. I'll dump the rest in here. Now, the other thing you have to watch for is if you don't get that wood completely dry and it's damp, your casting is going to come out yucky. That's a medical term. It's going to come out cloudy because Alumilite hates moisture. Okay. And I'm going to talk about moisture in a minute. As soon as I pour this, I'm going to show you what I was talking about. So mix this up. Get it nice and mixed. Come back here. Now, if I were home, I would wait a little bit on this till it starts to thicken up just a little bit. And also, if you feel it, it starts to get warm. Now, people will say, you know, the quote unquote experts will tell you that you have to measure this temperature of it. And when it hits 110 or 111 degrees, that's when you pour it because you get a perfect mix. Okay, come on. You know, you still get a good mix with this no matter what. Okay, so mix this up. Okay, so now I'll start to pour it in here. Pour that in. Pour this guy over top. Put a little bit there. Put a little bit here. And then I see I'm going to have a little bit, so I'll drop a little bit in my head. Okay, that'll be a gold one there. All right, let's come back and put a little bit more of this guy in. A little bit more of this. How are we doing on time? 3:55. Oh, we got plenty. We're good. I want to get it in before 7 minutes. Okay, now put that in like this. And the last one, I'll do a little bit more of this guy. Let's do a little bit of purple on him on the bottom there. And we'll do a purple one here too. And then half and half maybe. I can see it's starting to gel a little bit too, which is good. There's that. There's this. Okay, that's good. And then, I'm sorry, what? Yes. Yep, oh, absolutely. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Now I'm giving this a little bit of a swirl. Okay. In the pot, this goes. In the pot, these go. And then I'm going to put this on here. Now this is a pressure pot. It's really a paint pot from Harbor Freight. And I've modified it a little bit to make sure that it works. Okay, so I'm going to crank down on these guys. And then I'm going to take my compressor and I'm going to put this in. Now, I run it up to about 35 to 40 PSI. This tank is rated for like 80 PSI. I don't put anywhere near that. I mean, it's a Chinese tank. I don't trust it. So I'm going to cut it off there and that's it. So that's in, that's ready to go. Okay. Now, if you mentioned heat, you mentioned that kind of stuff. Okay. I tried to do a block mold. Okay. It was so hot in the warehouse. I didn't get 3.5 to 4 minutes into it. And this is what happened. Okay. It had sealed up on me. Okay. And that's what it is. Now, if you look at this, I'm going to pass around, it's sharp on the top and the side, so just watch it. If you look at this, look all the bubbles, the air bubbles. Okay. This is what happens when it's not under pressure. So you really need to have pressure on it when you do that. Okay. Here's one. Here's a block mold that we did. This is shredded credit cards. Okay. We shredded credit cards, mixed it up, put it in here, made it in a block mold. And how you get these out, you turn it upside down, smack it with a hammer, okay, rubber hammer, okay. And then I usually take the air compressor. Is it smiling? Okay, I want to make sure. Okay. Then I'll take the air compressor and take out the rubber foot on the bottom like that and blow this, and again, it's like, and it just comes right out just like this. Okay. So you can hand this around. And so you can use a lot of different materials. That's how I do the seashells. I mix the seashells up, put it in the block mold like this. Okay. Put in my blue dye or my red or my aqua, whatever, and do it that way. Okay. So this is the, Alumilite clear. You have 7 minutes to work with it. It comes out in 90 minutes. There's Alumilite clear slow. You have 12 minutes to work with it. Okay. And then you have 3 hours that it sits in the pot. Okay. And then after that, you can take it out and you have 10 blanks. All right. So this stuff, look, you can see it's starting to gel already. All right. So I'm going to take this, put these away. Try not to get your table messy. I'm hitting everything on that. Okay. Let me get this out of the way before it continues to drip. We can scrape them off. All right. Now, so block molds, you can put just about anything in. Let's make a couple individual ones like this, or like the red, white, and blue ones that I made out there. That's going to use the Alumilite white. This is the amazing white. Now, people use a lot of this stuff if they make shallow, shallow, like, what do you got? Pendants. Okay, I couldn't get the word out. It was in there. It's the first week with the new teeth. It's just, they slip. Yeah, the pendants, okay? You can do these without a pressure pot, but I still like to put things in a pressure pot because it really, shrinks all the bubbles in there. So, but again, this stuff is you have to mix it up real fast, okay? So I'm going to need someone up here for a little assistance, okay? I've got the red dye and I've got the blue dye in here already, okay? And same thing. This is 100, this is, 75 and 75 is 150. So we'll probably go, roughly about that 75 in each. And so let me get a cup. I had all the cups. Where's all, oh, here they are. Scares me for a minute. I thought, oh, come on, you weren't ready for this. Okay, so here's this. I'm going to zero it out. Zero it out. And so now with the Alumilite white, okay, this stuff, you don't put the B in first, you put the A in first because it's thicker on this stuff. Slippery too. Okay. So let me get this guy. I'm going to go just about, whoops, I went real far. 86 on that one. Oh, thanks, Lauren. So now this one is critical for timing. So somebody please, as soon as you get my timer out, you got to keep me informed on this one. This is 86.1. So I'm going to hit 86.1 with this and then pour this in. And what I want to do is I want to get, whoops, wrong one. Let me get the other one ready. I want to get this one ready to go because it's quick, okay? And I'm going to bring this up here, get this ready there. All right, so that's 86.2 is what it Team 2. So that was my A, and now I need the B. Go. 86. $86.3. Couldn't get any closer. Okay, so now I got to mix like crazy. See how see how it looks like white? Now it'll turn completely clear. And you want to make sure all the striations are out of it. So it's completely mixed well. I still see striations in there. Mix it up real good. Still striations. What's my time? Got a minute?
49:57.
Yep, okay. I'm going to leave some in here because I want some white. So there's my red. My blue is going to be my dominant color on this because there's more blue than anything. I can feel it getting hot now. Blue, blue. Little white, drop there, drop here, drop over there. Put my red in. Dump the whole thing in. Go for it. There's the red. My white drop. How am I calling my time on time?
2 minutes.
Okay. I'm done. I got a little left over. Carefully put that in. I have these marked, which side I'm when I put these on, to get them nice and tight. What's it, close to 275 or something, almost 3? 235? Nice. Got it in 2 minutes. Good man. Okay. All right, that's it. So in roughly 15 minutes, this can come out of the sauce. Yes.
The fluids are thick enough, they don't mix in the bowl.
They not much. I mean, you can, if you can, if there was more white, if this was more clear, you would see it, it really affects the color on it. Okay. And in a few minutes, you'll see this start to turn white. Okay. That'll stay red, obviously, and that'll stay blue. But look, it's already hard. This guy's already hardened up on it.
Is there any fume problems with this?
No, this stuff doesn't smell. This stuff doesn't smell. The polyester stinks. Okay. All right. Now, next thing, okay, is if you want to cast something in polyester resin, we're not going to do that because that's going to stay liquid for, for hours. So I really couldn't do that, but I made one for you. And here, oh, here it is. This is the polyester resin. It smells like fiberglass. Okay. When I was a kid, I worked in a marina and I fiberglassed boats. So this is like old home week to me. I mean, I love the smell of it. Doesn't bother me at all. What you can do with clear casting is really a lot of fun. You can clear cast labels. You can clear cast pictures of dogs, cats, kids, whatever you want to do. Okay. This one I did. These are abalone shells. Okay. And we get those cut into strips, and then we lay the strips on. All right. And then coat this in this. This is an easy way to do it. You put in 6 ounce or put in an ounce of fluid. You put in 6 drops of hardener, mix it up. and then pour it in, okay? And you'll see zillions of bubbles, but they all come to the top because it takes about 25 minutes before it starts to harden up.
What's the advantage to using polyester as opposed to the other?
No pressure pot,
Okay.
okay? And that's the big one. That's the big one. Now, the downside to polyester is that it's very chippy, it's very brittle, okay? The more MEK, the more hardener you put in it, the more brittle it becomes, okay? And people have a hard time turning acrylics, and that they have a hard time turning them because they're aggressive with the tools, okay? They really dig in and go for it. So with this, here's one that I did. This is root beer. They call it root beer for the abalone shell. And I put it on a Duraclick. So I'll pass that around so you can see it. All right, now with this, how you get these out is really simple. This is a dog bone mold. This is a small mold. It's great for pictures, for things like this. Okay, if you want to do something like this. And what else can you do with them? Okay, but hang on. So how do you get it out with this? You turn it upside down. Again, take a rubber mallet, smack the back of this, and then I'll take this and I'll put my fingers here like this. I'm going to zoom in on this. I'll show you. Get close. Nice. Oh, good. All right. So take your fingers like this, and they should just about pop out and wiggle out like that. Okay. So this is the upper barrel. I'm sorry, that's the lower barrel. Yeah. Okay. And there's the upper barrel. So I'll pass these around. Okay. You're my designated passer. Cameraman and passer, man, multi-talented. Okay. And so how you clean this one when it's done? Okay, really there isn't much residue in it because you're going to take, you've taken the tube, you've taken the tube like this, and you take your plug, jam it in there like that. Okay, and so now you plug the ends. Now you take this and pop it right down inside, and then pour your resin in between. So what can you do with them? Okay, so these are ideas that I do all the time. Everybody's into the beer, making your own beers and things, all the custom beers, IPAs and things. So peel off a label to a bottle and wrap this right around. You can wrap this right around and get the guys fighting on there, right in the front, which is kind of nice. All right, and glad you asked, Bob. You can use, what I use is Mod Podge. Okay, put a little Mod Podge, white glue, anything like that, and adhere to it. I usually, what I'll do is I'll paint the tube white. I'll scratch the tube up and then paint it white with just plain white acrylic paint. Okay, I don't leave it this color because what can happen is if the label is thin, it'll soak through and it'll pick up the dark label and it'll pick up the dark background. So I paint it white, and that way it reflects out and gives it a nice bright color on it. Here's an Angry Orchard, okay? And I trim this down so you just get the tree on there, which looks good. Ever go to, did they have BJ Brewhouse around here? No, okay, yeah, I haven't seen any. I wish they did. They're a Midwest basically. And they come out with these really great coasters like this with the symbols on there. Oh, sorry, with the symbols like Oasis. One of my favorites is the Piranha. And so I'll scan this and then I'll put it on a label like this. And then I can peel this label off and put it right on the tube. Now, these are waterproof labels. Okay, you can get these online. It's onlinelabels.com. And what I do is I make them for a whole bunch of different things. Here, this is Snoopy Van Gogh. Okay, here's a kitty cat. My wife likes cats. That's why she gets the cats. Here's Oasis and Piranha. Okay, those are there. Here's another one, Tatonga. Eat the heart. That one. And so how do you do it? Okay, so like I said, I scan this and then I bring it into a Word document. I size it down to where I think it's going to wrap around a tube. And then I cut this, I print it and I cut this out. And then I actually take this piece and I wrap it around to see if it does go around the tube. Then if it does, now I know it works. So now I'll go and I'll print it on these guys and put it on there. So let me do one and show you how easy this is. This is a Sierra, okay? So I've got Sierras here. Let's do a Snoopy. You know what? And I apologize. That's stupid. I thought I had a pair of scissors in that box. And let me make sure. I don't think there is. Go around here. Is there a pair of scissors anywhere here? No. Yeah, okay. Thank you. That'd be good. Oh, you know what? Hang on. I think I put a little pair of scissors in there to show how to trim this. And of course, the trim scissors aren't there. Oh, man, you screwed up big time. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, anyway, these peel off just like this, okay? And now I'll take that and I'll cut this off, and then I can lay this right on here. You can see it's the right length. And I have everything, so it'll wrap all the way around real nicely, okay? So when he gets back, we can do that.
Barry, are those also called water slide?
No, water slides are basically, it's like the old decals when you were kids. You soak them in the water and it slides off, and then you can just put them right on the tube, okay? Another thing that I do is, do you ever marbleize anything? Okay, you can get special marbleized paint, okay? It's called marbleized, and it floats right on the surface, and you take the tube, put it in, dip it up and bring it up, and it just lays right over top of it, dries, and then you can, put it in the acrylic like those, and it comes out really nice. So these are the things that you can do with this. Here's another one. This is Japanese rice paper. And you can cut these out and put it on there. And a lot of people, sell these. What are they? Yuraguchi, or I don't know what the proper name is, but that works out pretty good.
I was never wrong, but I could hear my mother yelling at me.
That's good. That's really good. Thank you. Never run with scissors. You're right. Okay. So all I'm doing is just cutting off the bottom piece. Cut the top. And I have this so it overlaps just a little bit. And I'm trying not to get any of the white on here because the white will look yucky on there if it is. Now, make sure that you put it on straight, because once you start this stuff doesn't come off. And then just go right around with it, just like that. Now, don't worry about the overlap. Why? Clips. Put the clip over the overlap. Nobody will ever see it. And I've never had anyone say anything to me about that. Now, if you can zoom in on this, do you see this extra on the top? Okay, you got to get rid of that. You got to cut that off, because if you don't, what'll happen, and I'll show you in a second. Get that off of there. Come on. It also sticks to your fingers. Get this off. All right, there. Once you do that, now I make sure I roll the ends like that. You want to seal it, because when you put this in here like this, if you had that little piece is sticking up, you're going to get air bubbles underneath. Okay, and what's going to happen is obviously you're going to get air in there, and it's not good. Okay, so you do that. You put this guy in here like this, push it down, and you've got one ready to go. You can't get it any easier than this, honestly. This stuff really works well. You see all these different people casting things. You'll see a lot of people that cast like the Second Amendment and put it on the bolt action pen. Okay, things like that. Okay, you take the American flag and print it and put it on there. So whatever you want to do to print stuff like that, you can get, again, this is onlabelsinc.com, and they're waterproof labels. Now, if we look at this, see how that turned white? Okay. This is absolutely red, obviously. And that was white, and this one was blue. And then these guys are pretty much hardened up in there. They're starting to harden up. So that's ready to go there. You can, so all this stuff you can do with no problem and get it in there and turn that, okay? So on this, I wonder if I have any in there. No, I don't, to do that with. Okay, so that's that. Now, last thing, if you don't want to do any of this, if you just want to take something and coat it, okay? I'm gonna have to move with me over to the lathe, okay? All right, so over here, I have one here, a Buckeye blank that we're gonna put a CA finish on later because they wanted me to do a CA finish too, okay? But in the meantime, since we're talking about different ways to coat things, this is UV resin, okay? It's ultraviolet resin. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to coat this with ultraviolet resin and then turn it, okay? So I can do it two ways. This is it's a Sierra type pen, so I can put the Sierra bushings on it and like this and apply this stuff on it, which I think I'll do. I don't care if I get it on top of it because we'll get it right off. Okay. Now, with the UV, they tell you to be careful and use the UV glasses when you put this stuff on. Okay. So I'll look sexy and put these on over top so I can see. All right. And then the UV resin, all I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take this and just run a bead straight down here like that, and then hit it with the UV light, just like this.
That's curing it?
That's curing it. Yep.
And is that just dripping it around with?
Yep, just dripping it over on the blank. I'm going to take these off because I'm going to be close enough to it that I'm not going to point this at my head and do that. I'm a responsible adult. At least I think I am. I think I am. I don't know. Works out well. So I laid that bead on there. Now I'm going to turn this a little bit and lay another bead right next to it.
Is this a new product? I've never heard of this.
Yep, it's a new product. This is, Berea put this out. And I used this. We didn't do the woodworking shows this year, obviously. So we did a virtual woodworking show. I know nobody, here came to the virtual woodworking show because you would have said, "Hey, I saw you there." But that's how popular it was. It was one of those. Okay, so I did this demo for it, and people were amazed. They said, "Wow, look at that! Yeah, look at it." Okay, so all I'm going to keep doing is just putting a bead on it and going right around just like this, hitting it with the light, and it dries it.
Have you ever tried mixing pigment powder with that? Like
It won't work. Won't work. We tried. And you can, if you mix powders with it, mix different powders with it. And you see, I mean, if I get it too sloppy and it drips around, it'll drip.
So, is this a replacement for the CA finish?
No, but you can do a CA finish, or you can do this instead of a CA. Okay, I still like a CA finish on it, okay? This stuff works. And, you know, it's kind of, you know, if you put your finger on it, you can feel it's still a little tacky. But, you know, it's weird because it's waxy. But it dries. When it dries, you can turn it. And I mean, it turns just like hard acrylic, okay?
And you can turn that shortly?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, once I get it all done. Yep. Yeah. Yep. You can use it for rings. You can use it for just about anything. People try this, you know, they've tried it for a bunch of different things.
I think it's sold for glue as well, for bonding agent.
Yeah, they have a couple different versions of this. There's a company, and I'm trying to think of the name, Bondex or Bontex. Bondix. Yep. Bondix. That stuff works great. That really works great. I've used that for glass. I put glass together with it and it worked really well. Now, the other thing with this is you can take this and put this out in the light, in the sunlight, and it hardens up almost immediately. Okay. For some reason, this light is getting kind of weak. It's not, in fact, it's off. Don't fear, I've got more. I've got, you know, like a bunch of them over here. Let me just. No, there's no pressure pot. There's nothing with it. I'm sorry, what?
Does it smell?
A little bit. There's a little odor to it, but it's not bad. At least I don't think it's bad.
Will it eventually dry without you?
I'm sorry, what?
Will it eventually dry?
Yeah, you put it out in the sunlight and it will. Yeah, yeah, it won't.
Bob, the real test is the taste. I think it's not enough.
Yeah, when you put this light on it, when it's new like this, it hardens up almost immediately. Yeah, now it's getting waxy. That's what I want.
This is black magic.
Yeah, it is.
You give yourself a suntan at the same time?
I don't know. I wouldn't try it.
I'm curious about
Yes.
How many people have used this stuff?
I use it for repairing the chandelier glass work. It's really neat. My neighbor turned me on to it.
What, the Bondic?
I don't think the flashlight is anywhere near the thing stepping out of the sun.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing.
So it's a little lumpy.
Oh, I don't care about the lumps because I'll turn those off. I'll turn those off.
You're selling that?
Yes.
It's got bags over there. Okay. What's a little kit of this cost?
It's like 27.
Yeah, okay. Sounds reasonable.
It's not, I mean, it works. You know, I did this, like I said, I did it for the demos that I was at. In fact, I just sealed the top of this. So I'll have to unseal it. If you feel this, okay, it's kind of wet and like it's waxy. And that's what I was complaining to Berea, saying, it's not hard, it doesn't dry. He said, yeah, it does. You'll turn it and you'll see. Hang on, let me get this off of here.
Well, this looks like the least expensive way to make a nice blank, right? Without smell, without pressure pot.
Yep. without anything.
And you can turn it tonight.
I will.
You'll turn it, so
I'll turn it tonight. I'll turn it and polish it and everything. I'm sorry that I should have had one half done for you, but then I did that once and people were saying I was a fake. You know, they wanted to, okay, so now I'm doing the whole thing, you know, so it takes a little extra time, sorry. No, you can't. Okay. In fact, if somebody wants to volunteer just to keep this on for a minute while I go over there and take out that stuff, you can see it.
You're not getting a free pen, Patty.
All right, I'm going to come around you. Show you. Oh, here's one that I did with the Oasis, the beer label. Pass that around a second. All right, so this is done now. It's been 15 minutes, hasn't it? Has it been 15 minutes yet? Maybe. Okay, well, I can see that this is hard. I can see that this is white and it's hard, so. Hang on. Can't hear you. I'm sorry, what? About 30 PSI. Okay. Yeah. If you no, if you draw a vacuum on Alumilite, you will get this because it hardens up so fast. You're not going to be able to draw it out that fast to get it, you know, to get it to the surface. You're going to get bubbles like crazy.
Barry?
Yes.
I think what happens is people very often use stabilization usually pulls the vacuum.
Yes.
And casting pressure.
Yep.
Pressure, even though the bubbles are making.
They're minute.
Okay.
They're minute. Okay, now you saw the blue, how blue this was, okay, in there. Now you'll see this is what it came out as there. Okay. Let me take this and ooh, they're warm still. Here you go. Pass them around. So when you cut into that, you'll see the red, you'll see the, you know, like I said, the blue is going to be the predominant color of that.
So can you talk a little bit about, you were talking about heat and moisture that doesn't like moisture, the Alumilite?
The Alumilite does not like moisture, okay? If you put any kind of moisture in it, it's going to turn cloudy on you, okay? It'll ruin it like crazy. It'll turn almost white, really. And it's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be clear. So it'll wreck it in a heartbeat.
How about humidity?
Humidity is the same thing. I have another one of these. I had another one of these like at home that it was in August. I was doing the Woodturners down in Cape May, the Cape May Club. No, not Atlantic Shores, Cape May. Okay, I was doing Cape May and it was in a room like this. It was 80 some degrees. Okay, the humidity was off the chart. There was nothing. I didn't even get a minute into it and it started to harden up. And so I poured it, and as I was pouring it like this, it was actually hardened up in the cup and down here. And so I had a spout like this into this. And so they kept it. I signed it. Okay. And they've got it there as this is what not to do, okay, with Alumilite in the summertime. Okay.
What do you do with those 1-inch square gaskets?
What, these?
No, not necessarily the messed up ones, but the ones that come out right.
Oh, we turn them. I mean, drill them and turn them. I mean, that's a pen blank.
Oh.
This is a pen blank, right?
No, the 5-inch square one.
Oh, these? Yeah, the same thing. I'm going to slice them up with a band. I use table saw, band saw, whatever. The table saw, I have a 16th inch kerf blade on it. It's an 8 1/4 inch blade. That's one of the Diablos. It's really it slices it and dices it really nicely. So it does a nice job with that. All right, I'm coming back over here. Thank you. Okay, now, if you feel this, okay, you'll feel it, it feels tacky. Okay, if anybody wants to, you know, come up and give it a quick little squeeze, you can. Okay, now, I asked Bob the other day what kind of tool post this lathe had. And I said, is it a 1 inch? And he said, why do you need that? Okay, well, this is the reason I need that, besides this gnat. This is a really nice tool rest, except it doesn't get me anywhere close to where I want to be with my you know, my blanks. Okay, so I do have smaller ones that are made for different size lathes. I have minis. I have these are 1 inch. Okay, which will go with the rope with go with the one way here. This is a robust. Okay, and so now if you feel that, hey Bob, I'll let you be the designated feeler.
I like that.
Yep, feel that. Okay,
Still just a little bit tacky.
it's not. I'll show you. Okay, it feels tacky. It feels it's waxy more than anything. Okay, now I was telling somebody before, they were asking about turning acrylics. Okay, I use carbide and I use a negative rake. Okay, so what's a negative rake carbide tool look like? Let's pretend this is a carbide tool. Okay, they're hollow like that. They come out with a real sharp point all the way out on the edge. So as your piece comes around, you hit this sharp corner all the time, and it can dig and it can tear and it can do all kinds of nasty things. So they came out with something like this. Again, you know, you've got a concave surface here, but now look at the edge. The edge is sloped down. So it's a negative rake. So as the piece comes around, it doesn't hit this sharp corner, it hits this, providing that when you set your tool rest height, that you are that the piece is at the center of the work. So it comes down and it hits this angle here. It's not hitting the sharp point. So it's making a nice slice on it. Missed it. Okay. So I'm going to set my tool rest height. So I am at the center. And when you use these, you go straight in. Okay. If you come up on an angle like this, now you're defeating the purpose of the negative rake. If you go down like that, you're doing the same thing.
Are these easy wood tools?
These are made for me by Easy Wood. Okay, this is an Easy Wood tool. Okay, this is my set that I have that they make for me. Okay, and I go straight in just like this. Need a little more speed. Now, when I turn these, I'm turning probably at about 1800 to 2000. Okay. Straight in. You hear that, Bob? Can you hear that? Does that sound wet? Doesn't sound what? Well, there it is. It's hardened. Does that sound hard to you? Okay. I'm going straight in. I'm just taking nice little pieces, chunks out of it, smooth it right off. I left some voids in this so I can show you. We'll go back and fill them in. And this is, I mean, whose turns on this lathe? What do you have, like guys that are like 9 foot tall? Jeez. That's okay. You know, I'll suffer. I'll get my elbows up as high as I can. All right, so. Boy, these things are hard to stop. Okay. So you see, now I've got, you know, deep holes. I missed a spot right there. Okay. So I can go back and just the one.
It'll bond to itself.
Oh yeah, it'll bond to itself.
So do you recommend turning this quickly?
Yeah, you can, no, you can turn it this quickly. No, you can turn it right away. If you can take it outside and in the sun, it's even better, really. Somebody asked me about an actual commercial light, you know, UV light. And I said, sure, that would work. Okay. And it's funny, I can take my hand like this, doesn't shake at all. Okay. If I hold it like this, I start to shake. Okay. And I was in a class and I said, you know, geez, I wish there was a neurologist here. A guy in the back walks up and says, I'm a neurologist. I said, okay. I said, what's it from? He says, it's normal. Don't worry about it. You're okay. Okay. So.
You charge him $1,500?
No, he was in my class. I charged him. We were even. Okay, so let me just hit this. I got a spot over here. So I mean, so I'm filling this stuff in and I can turn it right away. I'm putting extra lumps on it just so you can hear it and see it. And then I can smooth it and buff it, sand it and buff it, wet sand it and buff it, I should say, and let it go from there. Now, I can usually, when I put the light this close, I can see it start to smoke a little bit because it gets that hot. Okay, so I had a bare spot there. I got a flat spot there. Let me just fill in a little bit over here. You did a good job, Patty. Thank you.
So if you wanted to have gallons of stuff, can you put it in the cavity like the Velcro thing?
No, it would, you'd have to get a really, really strong, intense light to, you know, to make it go like that. But this, I mean, for doing projects like this, filling stuff in, it works nicely. There, I just saw it smoking over there a little bit. So I got a couple spots back here. You don't realize that you think you get it all and you got it pretty much down and you realize that you didn't.
I think you're coating or figuring putting on there.
I'm putting it on pretty thick.
I mean, ultimately, what do you think it'll be when you turn back?
Well, it'll, I don't know.
16, 8, or-
Yeah, about a 1/16 of an inch. I'm going over here. My lathes on off switches there. I think. So you saw I just put it on just now, and now I'm just taking it right back off. That's how fast this dried. So Al, here's your negative rake scraper. It's not chewing it up. It's doing a nice job on it. Got a hole in the middle. Ends are okay, I think. All right, I'm getting pretty close with it. I can probably fill in just a couple little more spots here and there. Come on, slow down. There we go. Yeah, I got one spot there. And then I'm just going to hit this like this. Then I can keep doing this and I can keep doing this and filling it in and all that stuff. I don't want to sit here and bore you to death. Probably already that way at this point anyway. So I'll just hit this and then quit it right there. Well, maybe I'll do this one over here. All right. And then what I want to do is I want to do a CA finish for you. They asked me to do that. How many want to see that? I guess so. All right, I'll do one.
Question, why would you use this over CA?
I tried that. It didn't, I love a CA finish. I've been using it for 20 years and I've never, ever, ever, not ever once had somebody come back to me with it clouded up or it cracked or anything other than they dropped it on the concrete and it cracked. That's the only time it ever did that. But I mean, I really like a CA finish.
I think he's asking why don't you start with CA?
Oh, why not? No, I don't want, I'd rather just go straight CA with it because the CA I can do that pretty quickly. But some people like, you know, they don't like the CA, they don't like the smell, they don't like to deal with it. So they like this better. It's just, you know, you can use this to repair things. I'm in the process now of doing kitless pens, teaching people how to make kitless pens. And that is, you know, something that takes a little bit more skill, but it works. And that, okay, let me get this right there. Okay, so what I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to, I've got a little dimple over here and over there. I'm not going to worry about that. I want to finish this. So I got to grab some papers here. I won't get your lathe all wet. Of course, the way it looks now, it doesn't make a difference. No offense, Bob. All right, so I've got water in here, that's all. Plain old water. Somebody said to me one time, what's the phosphosorb? It's for my fish tank. It's, all right, so these pads are different than regular aluminum or than regular micro mesh. Okay, they use a thicker pad in between, and so what happens with it? It gets you the scratch. When you scratch something, when you're sanding it, wet sanding it like this, you're really scratching it. Okay, and so you're putting pressure on it, but the pad is soaking up some of the pressure. And the crystals they use in this are larger than regular micro mesh. And anytime you scratch something with a larger crystal, you get a more even scratch pattern. And so these are the same pads they polish helicopter windshields with. Okay, so if it works for helicopter windshields, it works for this stuff. The first one was 600 and 800. This is 1500. Then 2400. And I've got medium pressure on this, and you see how long I'm doing this for. Not long. This is 4,000 and 12,000. These are double-sided. The ones that most people have, you have 9 pads, okay? I can do the same thing in 6 pads that you're doing in 9. I'm saving 33% of the time. And here's 12,000. And you got to use these wet. Make it a little bit of scratch remover. Little bit. That's about as much as you need. Sorry, what? This was 12,000. The scratch remover is higher. Dry spot on the towel. Yeah. Ooh, aha, wait, just wait. There is more. There is more. There is more. I'm going to take this. Wrong one. Is there another one around somewhere? Nope. There you go. Thank you. Good girl. Man, I'm telling you. See, that works. Leave it there. I'll get it later. Okay. This. Okay, now we're going to buff it. Okay. This is a cotton muslin wheel. This is a cotton flannel wheel. All right. And wait, you know, you'll see the difference. If you have minute scratches in this, it takes them right out. Okay. Start this up. The Blue Rouge is finer than white diamond by 2 grades. Just put a little on. And I'm just going to one side, the other. This well, the other wheel gets no rouge, but it does have abrasive qualities because it's a cotton flannel wheel. This one's a cotton muslin wheel. And please, when you use something like this, make sure you have tailstock support. Okay. I have seen people plug this in, don't bring this up to support it, turn this on, and this just whips right out. And it can hurt somebody. Yep. Okay, so now at home, I turn this a little faster. I turn this up around 3,000. Okay. The way they've got the belts on this, it's not going that quick. Okay. So I'm going to get, I can see just a little bit of a swirl here. I want to get this out. It's coming out. Okay. Thank you. So.
And what's the big difference between this and you got a Beal buffing system?
A Beal, I sell the Beal. The Beal's great. Okay. Beal works for wood. It's not for acrylic. Beal, the first wheel is triple E. Okay. It'll put scratches in this. It won't take them out. The second one, the white diamond, is still, this is higher than the white diamond by 2 grades. Okay. And then this wheel is even higher than that. Okay. So here's your finished piece. Now, obviously, I've got a, you know, I could have put more on this side over here. And I think I've got a little wrinkle right in the middle, but that's about as quick as you're going to get something.
You got a Snoopy.
And
So it looks like the big advantage of this is you don't want to buy it. You can get into, this isn't called casting though. What is it?
No, it's a UV resin.
Just a
It's
UV
still a resin.
It's a similar process, but a lot.
It's
less
still a resin.
expensive
Yep.
And a lot easier, a lot faster.
Yes.
Doesn't smell.
Doesn't smell. Okay, so now we'll get to the smelly stuff. Now I'm going to put these non-stick bushings on.
Now we're
Wait a
going to
minute.
CA finish.
This is a CA finish. Now I have sanded this to 12,000. I had a little dimple, a little hole right there. So I filled it with turquoise. Okay. This has been pre-sanded. It's ready to go. And so I'm going to put a CA on it. Now, with a CA finish, usually I have Bounty paper towels that I use. Okay, but since Bounty's not here, I'll just have to use these. All right. And also, I take tell them I'm not here. Not here. All right. Put this in there. You've been saving all these little bags all these years. I know you have. Everybody does. Okay. Now you know what to do with them. Okay. Stick your finger in them. Okay. And I'm going to use that along with the paper towel here. I'm going to turn the speed down on this to about 500 or so. All right. And I'm going to take, this is medium CA and this brand. This is the original CA glue. This is the hot stuff from Satellite City. Okay. And this stuff really works well. Okay. Again, like I said, I've never had an issue with this yet. Okay. I'm going to put a big drop on like this, and then just put it right on here like that. And I'm going to work it back and forth, just like this. And then I'm going to give it a quick little squirt. You're sitting in the splash zone, but that's okay. All right, now, this is dry. It's completely dry that quick. Okay. Turn the towel over. Put another big drop on. And just work it back and forth just like this. Dry. Okay. And I'm going to borrow your scissors again. They're over there, of course. I got to lose weight. Come back this way. Cut that off. And here's coat number 3. I put 6 coats on. Usually somebody says, why 6? I don't know. It works for me. I've tried other ones. Sometimes I get a little aggressive when I sand this, and so I sand through. That's why I like 6. And I'm putting a load extra on this one side because I want to show you something that happens to people all the time. So that's 4. There's 5. This is the way I do it at home, honestly. I put it on, I put a big drop on the top like this, and then when it's spinning slowly, it's not going to spit up in your face. And I have the bag here, so if it gets stuck to the bag, it's no big deal. And then dry that. If you get these tops clogged all the time, and you have to keep cutting them back, I have a little jar of acetone that I throw them in. And that way I always have a clean tip. Take that one off, put the other one on, and that way it works pretty good. Okay. All right, so that's done. All right, so At this point, this is pretty rough. So I'm going to take one grit of like 320. Here's one grit of 320. Turn the speed back up. I'm just going to sand this smooth. Or as close to smooth as I can get it without taking off my finish. Okay, so now you see that there are, there are dark spot or, light spots and, like it's kind of dull. It's shiny and dull spots. Can you see that? Okay. I want to take this down so that I don't see any spots like that. I want it all completely flat. Okay. And again, since I used this paper towel, it left kind of little grooves in it, which I don't really like. That's why I like my Bounty. It really is softer and it leaves a really nice, straight, equal, nice finish on it. Okay. And again, I have the non-stick bushings on here, but I coated it so thick that it stuck to the bushing. And I did that on purpose because I know people do that. So I usually do this in a demo to show them how to get rid of that without ruining your finish at this point. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Make sure that there are no shiny spots on this whatsoever. And then once I do that, once I get it to where I like it, I'm going to take it and now I'm going to wet sand it. Do the same thing I did before, because I've turned my wooden pen now into an acrylic by putting this CA on it, right? So if I go to take this off right now, I'll show you this. That one kind of came right off. This one's not going to come off like that. And if I try and do that, I'm going to crack my finish. And I don't want to crack the finish on the end. So I'm going to put this back on and I'll show you how I get it off. Bring this up. I'm going to take my skew, the pointy end of the skew, and I'm going to come right in here. Can you see that? Come right in here just like this. All right, so now I'll be able to take this guy off. Come on, be able to take this guy off just like that, okay? And you can do this two ways. You can take a bit of thin CA glue, put it on a little piece of paper and just touch the ends to harden it up. Or this is pretty hard, so I'm just going to take a nail file from Sally Beauty Supply and just sand that right off. That way I'm not going to worry about the end chipping or anything. Okay, so now this is ready to be wet sanded. So I can take these off if I want, go back on these again. Get this out of the way. Bring that up. Keep this down here so we don't get the lathe bed all yucky. Sorry, Bob. Okay, so I'm going to start off with this guy again, which is your 600. I'm dipping it in water, getting it nice and wet. You see the slurry on here, this white stuff? That's what you want, okay? That's what's actually helping polish this. Okay, I wipe it off, turn it over, and now I go to the 800 side. I do this for probably, 4 or 5, 6, 10 seconds in that range. Then I go to the 1500 pad. Wipe it off, dip it in, go to the next one. So I'm not going through all 9 progressions of the micro mesh. I just use these 3 pads that are double-sided. And then 4,000 and 12,000. And then a little bit of scratch remover, and then we'll buff it and we're done. And it doesn't take much of this stuff. Like just a tiny little bit. Because you only have a piece that's only 2 inches big, so. Ooh, okay. You're getting it now. And here it is. Make sure you have tailstock support. I got enough rouge on there. Speeds up. That is a nice finish. You can't laugh at yourself. All right, that side. This side. This guy. And you see how durable it is. It's done. You can pass it around. I already started it.
Would you like to see it first?
Oh, I know what it looks like. It's fine. Years ago, I'm talking about years ago, I was doing this at a meeting and it hit the lathe and it shot straight out this way. And there was a woman sitting there and it hit right here and slid right down. Okay. Don't you think every guy in the room, I'll get it. I'll get it. No, that's okay. She got it. No problem. So that's the CA finish. That's how quick and that it took. I timed it. It took 5 minutes to do that from beginning to end. Okay. And when you see the finish on that, it's the only thing is honestly, if I were home, I would buff it a little longer and a little faster. This is a little slow and I'm not going to sit here and change wheels on it, change the pulleys on it. So that's it for me. The only other thing we have is, how long has it been with that guy? Has it been 90 minutes yet? 60? Yeah, let's pull it out. Let's see what it's like. It should really go at least 90 minutes, but
Hey, Barry.
that's why I brought 2 pots. That way you can see both. Here's your kniff back. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hey,
And-
Barry. Hello.
Hello. What
Yeah.
do I do?
Yeah. This is Bruce Arnold. I have a question.
Hi, Bruce.
Yeah. We didn't get a good picture of the finished pen blank. Could you give that to the cameraman so we can get a close up?
Oh, sure. It's coming through. It's coming around now.
Talking about.
Thank you.
But the CA finish,
Right.
CA or the no, the UV resin.
No, I'm talking about the CA.
Okay, yeah, here's the CA. There you go. Hold it up close and make sure it smiles. Hang on, turn it this way so they can see it. Turn it that way. Ooh. Ah, there you go.
Ooh, ah.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, it's a stone filler. No, it's not a fine powder. If you use real fine powder, the CA won't penetrate it. It'll sit on top of it, okay? If it has just a slight bit of grit to it, it'll soak down in between and soak down through. In over there, and I'll show you, I've got some, let me go get it now, since we're talking about that. Here's a powdered ones. This is cactus. I'll pass these around. This is cactus that's just filled. And so you can see that it'll fill in pretty nicely. And then when you put the CA finish on it, it'll really make it jump and pop at you. All right. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the, you know, I mean, I see people all the time, they'll make a pen and they'll have it on the website or something, and it'll look nice. When you get it in your hand, you'll see the scratches. You'll see that the fit doesn't fit well on it, and it ruins it. You know, I judge contests sometimes for pens, and, you know, they look good until you pick them up and you really start to look at, ooh, mommy. Okay, let's do the heads first.
Hold on.
Okay, now these pop out like crazy, so you just gotta. Yeah, come on out of there. Okay, you have a 50-50 raffle here? Okay, well, let's make one here. There's something for it. That's the first one. Here's the next one. And these are nice because you can, oh, mommy, look at that. All solid gold. That's nice.
You put these on the top of pens?
I'm sorry, what?
You put these on the top of pens?
No, I'll show you what I do with them. I make little key rings out of them. And, you know, people are enthralled with, you know, sugar skulls now. So what I'll do is I'll take a little drill the top, you can hold it that way, and make a key ring out of it. So there's your third one.
We usually don't do a 50-50, but we do a raffle.
Okay, well, here, you got 3 of them to raffle off. All right, so here's your pen blanks. Okay. Here's your pen blanks. All right. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take out the back. If I had my hammer, I could do that, but instead I'll do this. That's why I like these molds. Popped right out. Now, you can't really see the wood. Well, you can kind of see the wood. Here, I'll pass that around. And when you turn this, you'll be able to see the wood a lot clearer in there. With the.
Can you go through a little bit, if somebody wanted to start this, what investment do they have to make for an initial kit?
Well, which way do they want to go?
With the
All right, if you go with Alumilite, you're going to need a pressure pot. Okay, so Harbor Freight, you're looking at about roughly about $100 for it. Okay, now once you get that, what I do is I take out their over relief plug. Okay, and I go to Home Depot or Lowe's. These are like $8. Okay, and pop one of those in. Then on this side, this is where your paint comes out. I put a cap, I capped it off completely. All right. Then over here, all right, I got a little T with a valve on it. So you're looking at maybe about $15 in hardware to do that. Okay. Then it depends on which way you want to go. If you want to make, like big block molds, you can get the block molds are like $50, but these don't wear out. You have molds that people sell that are, silicone like this. These wear out. They get hot. I mean, I don't know if you felt how warm this got, or you felt how it felt when it came out. The temperature gets really hot. I mean, 200 plus degrees. And these will get really, out of shape and everything. The solid HDPE molds like this, these are basically indestructible. Okay. The only thing you're going to have to replace eventually is these plugs. Okay, because these will wear out, but that's inexpensive. So you've got like $60 for a mold like this, and then the Alumilite. It depends on which way you want to go. The Alumilite, the small ones like these are like $36, $39. And then they do have gallon size and then 80 pound size. So it just depends which, how you want to go with it. If you don't want to go with an Alumilite with a pot like that, if you want to go just plain with, this kind of stuff, these is like $38. And then you can use these molds. So it just depends which way, how you want to go. So that's basically it, guys. If you have any questions about anything, I'm here. I have, I'll put my cards, my business cards out here. If you have any questions about anything, just email me. And, I'm pretty good about getting back to people on email. So, Bob Johnson hits me up every now and then. So I get right back to him too. Don't I, Bob? He's off now. He left. I put him to sleep.
He mentioned that he talks to you on occasion.
Yep. Okay. So is there any questions about anything?
First of all, on the CA glue, I know you use a certain brand.
Yes.
Are all of them different?
Yes.
As far as formulation?
Yeah. I mean,
Because I've used different ones. I've used that one you used there. And so on.
yep.
I found out that they don't dry it pure.
I know. I mean, this is the Satellite City is the original and the first one. I mean, all the shows that I do every week, I do 3 shows a day, and every day I get somebody coming up and showing me a pen that is cracked, that it's got crazing marks in it, or it just didn't harden up. And I can tell them, you're not using this glue. And they say, no, I'm using, I'm using Tight Bond. I'm using, something else. And so,
What I do like about the Tight Bond is that you can
well, if you,
as far as the glue,
right, but if you, I mean, and if people have a problem with the tips, like I tell people all the time, take the tips, and I usually store them in a jar of acetone. And that way you always have a clean tip. Before I start anything, I'll go in and I'll change the tip. And that way I know it'll be, it's clean. I just throw the other ones in there. So it works out good.
question on bushes,
Yes.
all right? I'm not a mechanic and so on, but when you come say bushings. To me, it seems like bushings and bearings, we're talking about mechanical.
Yeah.
Why in the hell don't they come up with a name which is more descriptive and say there's sizes and bushings? Sizes, it is what it is, John.
I mean, they came out with this years ago.
To me, sizes.
It probably would be, but yeah, they've already got them going, so.
But here's another question in regards to bushings. I must have at least $200 or $300 worth of bushings. Is there any way, especially turning over pens and so on and so forth, that you can get away with buying bushings that we can?
I'll show you something, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
And that, it seems like the bushings are getting more expensive than the pen kits.
Sometimes they are, okay? But if you make a pen, one particular type of pen all the time, okay? Where did my, okay, here. Let's say you do a lot of Gatsby's or Sierras or, you know, something like that. Here's a Sierra pen, okay? The front of a Sierra pen. This one broke, okay? And so you're always making your bushings, sizers, whatever you want to call them, they always are going to come out to this same dimension all the time, or they should. So this guy, all it does is it sits in there like this and twists, right? Okay, that's how it works. It doesn't get pressed in. And even if it does get pressed in, what I do is I take a little nail file and I file it off. So all this does is just slide in. So now I can test this piece. I'm making this piece, right? I've got my bushings on here. I'm turning it down. And if my bushings are too low or whatever, I go to put this on here and you see it doesn't fit or it's too big or whatever. This way I can always use this as a test piece and I can come over and I can slide it in and say, oh, that's a nice fit. So now I can start my finishing process on it. So if you have, rather than, I mean, we all make mistakes. Sorry, don't mean to insult the audience, but you know, if you make a mistake, don't throw it away. Just keep it, okay, and file off the end. And so now all it does is just slip in there, and now you can see that, oh, that works good. So I don't worry about my bushings, honestly. Okay, I always have test pieces for all the pens that I make all the time. It just saves me a little bit on it. And a lot of the pens, you don't even need to you know, have a fake one or destroy one, because they have little sizing rings that just slide on. So you can slide just push it in a little bit and slide it up and see if it fits. So there's always a way to test your piece before you go put it together.
Any other questions?
Yay!